During a rally in Pennsylvania over the weekend, man of the people, former President Donald Trump admitted to screwing over his own workers by refusing to pay them for overtime.
Here we go again. Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks is twisting Trump's words, trying to make it sound like he's the bad guy when it comes to overtime. She's out here claiming that Trump doesn't care about workers, but seriously, that's not even the point. Anna Kasparian is more focused on turning this into another anti-Trump rant than actually talking about what matters, like his plan to cut taxes on overtime pay. But you see how the Young Turks does it. They latch onto a comment, blow it up, and completely ignore the bigger picture. And this isn't new from Anna Kasparian or the Young Turks. They've been pushing this same narrative for years. Stick with me, we're gonna break it all down.
He let that mask slip just a little bit. Now, the comments came as he was talking about his very popular proposals to end taxes on tips and overtime pay, which the crowd understandably loved. But the energy quickly changed when he came clean about being the type of employer who doesn't want to pay his employees overtime pay. Let's watch.
We will have no tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And no tax on Social Security benefits for seniors. No tax. No tax. And you know, it's going to lead to great things. A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated. This is going to lead to a lot more. I think it's going to be economically positive, but I'm not even doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because like the no tax on overtime, it's something so good, but no tax for the seniors. Do we have any seniors here? I hate to admit it, I'm a senior.
No, I love that clip for so many different reasons, right? He's like, no tax on tips. Ah! Like the audience goes wild. No tax on overtime pay. Ah! Crowd goes wild. And then he forgets who he's talking to.
But seriously, what do you guys think? Shouldn't Anna be focusing more on Trump's actual overtime tax proposal instead of twisting his words? Drop a comment, let me know what you think. It really helps the channel.
But he's like, I didn't like to pay overtime pay for my employees. Just radio silence. you can hear a pin drop. And you can tell he immediately realizes, oh no, I stepped in it. And it's like, hey, no tax on seniors. No tax on seniors. Anybody? No tax on seniors.
So yeah, Trump made an off-the-cuff comment about not liking to pay overtime. And yeah, it didn't land well with that crowd, but come on, Anna Kasparian is acting like this is some major scandal. It's not. He was speaking as a businessman, and guess what? A lot of business owners hate paying overtime. That's reality. But the real problem here is that Anna is totally missing the bigger picture. Trump is actually proposing to cut taxes on overtime pay. That's a huge win for workers. Imagine getting your overtime pay tax-free. That's extra cash straight into workers' pockets. But no, Anna's too busy playing gotcha with a throwaway comment that doesn't even change anything. She's focused on Trump's slip, but she should be focusing on how this policy actually benefits workers. Typical Trump derangement syndrome, right? It's just sad.
So you know how I tell you that Trump A/B tests his messages? He'll just say both things and see how it goes. So he's like, now remember, I'm a dirty businessman who's a crooked and doesn't pay people. And overtime, oh my God, I'd never pay you guys overtime.
He's a typical American employer.
Right.
Let's keep it real.
Okay, and so I hear you on that, but as usual, as you're about to tell us, he's way worse than the average employer, and he brags about it. So this is the real Donald Trump, the guy who never pays his bills, the guy who stiffs his own workers, and then claims to have $10 billion and then rubs it in their face.
So let's talk about his past, because what he said was not a lie. So congratulations to Trump for telling the truth. So back in 2016, USA Today had done an investigation into his practices as an employer. And they published this piece. Hundreds allege Donald Trump doesn't pay his bills. Donald Trump casts himself as a protector of workers and jobs. But a USA Today network investigation found hundreds of people, carpenters, dishwashers, painters, even his own lawyers, who say he didn't pay them for their work. So their analysis did in fact find that this was true, that Trump had been involved in more than 3,500 lawsuits over the previous 3 decades, many of which came from ordinary Americans who said that Trump and his companies refused to pay what they were owed. Among them, a dishwasher, a glass company, a carpet company, a plumber, painters, 48 servers, dozens of bartenders and other hourly workers at his resorts and clubs, real estate brokers who sold his properties, and then you have several law firms that once represented him in these suits and others. People have accused Trump and his businesses of failing to pay. Trump's companies have also been cited for 24 violations of the Fair Labor Standards Act since 2005 for failing to pay overtime for minimum wage, and that's according to the US Department of Labor data. And some of those workers even put in 20-hour days over the 10-day Passover event at Trump's National Doral in Miami. And his mistreatment of workers also goes beyond his personal businesses. He screwed workers as president as well. For instance, the Trump Labor Department prevented millions of workers from receiving overtime pay by not defending the Obama administration's 2016 overtime rule. I remember this, but instead finalizing their own weaker overtime rule in September of 2019. Roughly 8.2 million workers who would have benefited from the 2016 rule have been left behind by the Trump administration's rule.
Anna's dragging up old lawsuits again, and I get it. Trump's been in a lot of legal battles, no surprise there. But seriously, how many of these lawsuits actually stuck? Look at the Noel Cintron case. It went to arbitration, nothing huge came out of it. And while she's busy talking about the Obama era overtime rule, she conveniently forgets to mention that Obama's rule got struck down in court. Trump came up with a version that didn't face the same legal challenges and still expanded overtime pay to over 1 million workers. If Anna really cared about workers, she'd spend more time talking about Trump's overtime tax proposal and less time cherry-picking random lawsuits. You can spin it however you want, but Trump's policy helps workers, period. All right, if you're tired of the Young Turks twisting the story, make sure to like and subscribe. And drop a comment. Let me know what you think about Trump's overtime tax proposal. Your thoughts help keep the channel growing, and it really helps get the truth out there.